Hi everyone, lazy gardeners, this one's for you. If you want to grow your own food without breaking a sweat, here are fast food crops you really need to plant in November. This is for any garden, any climate, no matter if you're coming into a cold winter or live in a mild winter like I am. This is the easiest what to plant video I've ever done. No digging, no stress. You're not even gonna get dirty. I'm wearing my white shirt for this one. If you've been putting off growing your own food, now is the time to jump in. These are crops you can harvest in as little as a week. No matter where you live, it's truly garden fast food at its best, but without that drive-through guilt. Let's jump in. Let's kick things off here with microgreens. Now, microgreens are those tiny little greens that you see at farmers markets that are crazy expensive for just a handful. But here's the lazy gardener's secret. You can grow your own at home for pennies, harvest them in about a week. They're actually good for you and you hardly have to lift a finger. Now, in case you're not familiar with microgreens, they're simply fast-growing seeds that you harvest at about 2 inches tall, and they're super power-packed with nutrients. Here's why you should grow microgreens in November. It might be getting cold in your garden. You don't need to bust out your grow lights if you don't want to. You can grow them right on your kitchen windowsill, and you can harvest them in about a week. So you get the fancy greens without the fancy price tag. Now, the cool thing is you can use many different kinds of containers to grow microgreens in. Have fun with it. Just look around your house and see what you have. Some of my favorites are an orange juice container, which I just cut off, put holes in the bottom, filled with soil, and planted these cute little feisty pea microgreen shoots in. Another one of my favorites is just the little takeout containers that you might get when you order food from a restaurant, or this one actually had mashed potatoes in from Trader Joe's. I've got radishes, quick growing green, purple basil, and underneath here is some delicious fennel. So all super zippy and add great flavor to your soups, salads to top your sandwiches with. Now, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is a windowsill tray that fits exactly on my kitchen windowsill. It's just the right size, and I've got some fast-growing greens in here. I'm gonna share with you a special little watering hack that you can use for that super lazy gardener who doesn't even want to water your plants. So let's get some microgreens planted. Oh, wait a second. Let me take a sip of my coffee first. Oh, sorry, this is a little microgreens coffee cup here with some red amaranth in it. You can even grow them in a cool little cup. No need for even punching holes in the bottom. Oh, one more thing here that I forgot to share with you is this muffin tin. Now, I just planted these on Sunday, but the soil is already pushing up, telling me that the seeds are just starting to bust through. So you can even plant your own little microgreen salad bar in a muffin tin. So the sky's the limit. Get creative with what you grow them in. So here I've got another little tray here I'm going to show you how to plant microgreens in. Super simple. I did pre-moisten some seed starting mix here. I do prefer to use seed starting mix as it's a nice fine mix for the seeds to bust through. I'll put a link to my favorite in the video description. And I'm going to grab some quick growing microgreen seeds from my microgreen seed collection. And by the way, this is newly updated with 12 new varieties to help you grow. So these aren't special seeds that grow tiny greens. They're simply fast growing greens. These happen to be tatsoi mustard greens, which is one of my favorite. And you can actually sprinkle several varieties in one tray. And you're not worried about spacing here, so it's perfect if you don't want to do a lot of work or measure out seeds, because remember, you're only growing them to about 2 inches tall. And just like my radishes and other microgreens here, you want a nice thick carpet of greens to harvest in just about a week. Now it's time for red Russian kale, another fast-growing green. These are really nutrient-dense powerhouses, and they add such a tasty flavor to all your winter comfort foods that you want to be growing inside. Then all I'm going to do, so simple, is just sprinkle very, very lightly with soil on the top, just so all the seeds are covered. I'm going to give it a little spray here. I'm going to keep the top of that soil nice and moist while it's germinating. In about 3 to 5 days, these seeds are going to bust through the soil. Now, let me give you a super handy self-watering hack in case you don't want to be bothered with watering your microgreens. I want to introduce you to my favorite new garden BFF, the Wicked Watering self-watering spikes. I'm telling you guys, I am in love with these things. They allowed me to completely water this entire microgreen tray without lifting a finger. So here's how it works. You simply insert the little spike into my watering tray, the cord, the end of the cord into a jar of water. The water wicks up through the cord and goes into the tray and automatically waters my plants. I mean, these things are amazing and have saved me so much time. We actually left for 4 days and my plants were absolutely beautifully watered indoors. So we've got our watering spike here. What I'm gonna do is insert the spike into my microgreens tray, and you can actually do this before you plant your seeds or after if you forgot like I did. Just gonna push it down into the tray, into the soil here. Kind of getting it all the way down in there. Don't stress about it. And then this has a little dial on it. So depending on how hot it is in my house, I can either open up this little dial to allow more water in or close it if I think my plant is getting too much water. And then because this is kind of a wide tray, I'm gonna actually put 2 spikes in. And I can pull the string out to adjust it. Spike in the soil, wicking cord push down. And you can use this in a tray or on your indoor houseplants. And then here's the beauty of it. Got a jar of water here, and I'm just gonna put the wicking cords into the jar of water. And if you need it to water for a longer time, like you're gonna be gone for a week or so, you wanna use a larger jar of water. And then the water simply wicks up through the cord and waters your plants. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Now let me show you the jar over here, which I actually refilled yesterday, and it's already halfway down because we've had really hot weather. These were in a window where it was getting warm, and it literally automatically watered my plants. I am just floored with how simple this is, the beauty of it, and how well it works. I'll put a link down in the video description because I know you're going to want one too. One reason why microgreens are so easy to grow is because you don't have to set up grow lights if you don't want to. This tray here was growing in my windowsill, and the windowsill they're growing in doesn't even get direct sunlight, so you don't need a lot of light. It's just indirect sunlight is absolutely fine. These actually were growing under grow lights. They grow a little bit more vigorously and get more green under grow lights, but really just make it work for whatever space you have. You can even put them on your kitchen table. And the cool thing is, in about a week, these were actually planted about 10 days ago. Here is the reward. You get to walk over to your windowsill and simply snip off these beautiful sunflower microgreens. Look at that little seed that's still there. It's nice and nutty and crunchy, and you can have power-packed greens to eat, even in the wintertime when it's too cold to get out in your garden. We've made it easy for all of us lazy gardeners who don't want to do any work by putting some seed collections together for you. Our microgreen seed collection, all new varieties. There's 12 varieties of microgreens in here. And our indoor garden seed collection, lots of mini vegetables, but also including 4 varieties of microgreens. On sale now for 50% off with the code MICROMAGIC over at CALIKIM'sGardeningHome.com. Now we're a mom and pop shop. We pack every single order ourselves, even include a free seed packet, and we really appreciate your support. We have our microgreens growing inside, and in just a moment, I'm going to show you how to grow food from last night's dinner scraps. But most gardeners shut down their garden for the winter time, but there's still greens that you can grow outside. Think of these as grab and grow greens. They actually like the cool weather. Some grow sweeter with frost, but the key is you have to plant the fastest growing greens ever in order to get your outdoor fast food greens. So right here, I planted some arugula and mustard greens, the fastest growing greens ever. And these were just planted a week ago, and look how nicely they're already coming up. It's kind of like outdoor microgreens. I did seed them very, very thickly. So it's just a beautiful carpet of greens. And I covered them with tulle to help prevent the birds from picking the seeds out. But when I planted them a week ago, I didn't even amend the soil or put in any extra compost. All I did was put in some of the Monterey Dr. Iron, which will help really green things up and help all the nutrients that are already in the soil work that much better. So these I can already begin harvesting simply by cutting out little microgreens here every 2 inches, or picking them out because I forgot to bring my scissors with me. And that way it'll thin out the greens here. I mean, these are just beautiful colors of greens. These are the giant red mustard greens. So I'll thin these out and we can take these inside and put them on our scrambled eggs. And then as I'm making more space by harvesting the microgreens, they'll actually grow into full-size greens, which I can then harvest for salads. Now it's super important in the winter time, even though you might be getting rain and snow, that you do keep these greens watered. But I did not go through the trouble of winding around drip irrigation hoses in my little mini raised bed here. All I did was stick in one of the Mr. Landscaper micro sprayers. I just punched into my main line, which is right back here, and then it gives a nice gentle spray to my greens, and you can see how it's working, and they've grown absolutely beautifully in just a week. The beauty of this is you don't need a ton of space. This is roughly a 2x3 raised bed. You could even plant these greens in a container. So if you've been putting it off because you think you don't have enough space, you definitely can find a space to plant these in your garden. Now these greens are hardy down to about 20 degrees. If you live in a climate where you get colder, they're actually going to grow faster if you give them a little very simple winter cover. Remember, we're talking lazy gardener here, so don't get fancy. I've just got 4 of my garden stakes here. I'm going to pound 1 into each corner. Now here in Southern California, we really don't need winter covers. We don't often get a frost, but these are going to be frost tolerant even if we do. But you northern gardeners may need to do this just for extra protection in the wintertime. I just looked in my garden shed for this old tarp. I'm going to drape it over my garden bed here. Drape the tarp over it, secure the tarp with a clip to each stake, and then put bricks around the top to keep the warmth underneath. Now this is great to do on cold nights, but make sure you remove it on sunny days so you don't fry your plants underneath. Now if you forget to cover with tulle or you don't have tulle and the critters eat your seeds, no worries. This is like fast food refills. You just sprinkle in some more seeds, and I'm just using the arugula seeds and the red mustard seeds from my microgreens and indoor garden seed collection. They'll germinate in a week or so, and boom, you've got some refills for your new fast food garden here. And for the ultimate lazy gardener, no judgment here, if you don't even want to open a seed pack, here is a scrap food garden you can make from last night's dinner scraps. All you have to do, if you happen to buy a celery, a head of romaine, or some green onions, is simply cut off the top, stick it in a jar of water with just an inch or 2 of water in the bottom. It's eventually going to grow roots out the bottom, and these I just started on Sunday, which was 4 days ago. It's going to grow greens from the top, so you'll have an endless salad bar right in your kitchen without even having to lift a finger. And here we've got the romaine lettuce. This one's growing even faster. I mean, these I could easily just break off for little mini salad greens right from my kitchen. And these grew right next to my kitchen sink without even any direct light. Now I love the green onion trick. For a bunch of green onions, you could even pull some out of your garden, just stick them in a jar of water. These I've literally grown for months on my countertop, and what you can do is simply, anytime you want a little bit of green onion flavor in your food, just snip off the top and snip them right into your food. It really is that easy. Now the cool thing about these is you can grow them on your kitchen countertop during the winter time, and then come spring you can take and plant these right out in your garden. And several years ago I did this to my celery head and literally had celery for years just from a grocery store celery. Now an important tip to remember with these is you want to change the water every couple of days just so there's no rotting on the bottom of your plant here, and only put an inch or 2 of water in the bottom to avoid rot on the top part of your plants. But the cool thing is, if one rots, no big deal, just toss it, throw it in the compost, and start over with a brand new kitchen scrap. And the beauty of this kitchen scrap garden is last night's dinner scraps are tomorrow's taco toppings. Now tell me that's not the best fast food hack ever. Last but not least, one of my favorite lazy gardener crops to plant in November are herbs. Now don't start your herbs from seed to do this. Just head out to your garden and grab and clip some herbs that you can propagate. So some of the easiest herbs to propagate, which you can do right in your kitchen in a jar of water, are mint and basil. Now mint and basil will grow roots from a cutting within a week or so, and you can literally harvest them and grow them on your kitchen windowsill all winter long. Now a little bit more tricky to root, but you still can do it, are cuttings from oregano, rosemary, lavender, and sage, and these take about 2 weeks to root. But the beauty of it is, as they're rooting, you can continue to harvest the herbs to give great flavor to your food in the wintertime. I hope you found this video helpful. And I want to encourage you, get started. You'll be so glad that you did. And if you're a new viewer, please subscribe. We would love to have you in the CALIKIM family. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.